Hello to all my fellow and future gamers, and welcome to the Xbubblez Gaming channel. I am X, and this video is Darkheart Thicket, normal, on my Guardian Druid. Alright, so I'm going to run this video a little bit different than really any other tanking video that I've seen out there. I'm not going to focus on rotations or cooldowns or builds, stat priorities, any of that stuff. I really just want to get in the dungeon and go through it. And I'm just going to talk out loud as I'm going through the dungeon so that you kind of get a feel for what I think about. You know, where do I want to be positioned? How's my health doing? What cooldowns am I thinking about? Those types of things, just to kind of give you a basic idea of what a basic tank thinks about as they're going through a dungeon. Later on, you can go find a much better tank on YouTube that does much more advanced content, and you can see what they do to help themselves when they get into those big mythic pluses or they are a progressive rating tank. They can help you out a lot with that kind of stuff. So, first off, I am going to queue here for Darkheart Thicket. One of my things, I am not comfortable enough on all 6 of my tanks on all of the dungeons, so I generally only queue for a single dungeon. I don't think that the bonus that I get from queuing for randoms is really that much, so I just queue for single dungeons. The other thing that allows me to do is check the dungeon journal ahead of time so that I can just refresh my memory on the bosses that I'm going to see as I go through. So for Darkheart Thicket, first one is Druid Gladius, and so point him away from the group. He's going to do this Primal Rampage. It'll hit you and you alone, so it'll leave everybody else alone. Darkheart comes up next, so he does this Nightmare Breath. This is one that you just have to take, so keep in mind when he drops this, it's not like one of the normal dragon breaths that when he picks a direction, he stays there. If you move, he will move, so if you're trying to run around to get out of the breath, then you can actually, he will turn with you and end up hitting the DPS, so don't do that. Crushing Grip is very specific here, right? Deal significant damage. So when he grabs you, you gotta pop one of those defensive cooldowns, help out the healer, take a little bit less damage. Drezeron, he's a little dragon in here. The big thing that this talks about is when he does his down draft, it's going to blow everybody away from him. So run towards him. Stay as close as possible, especially don't get blown back into the eggs because it'll spawn these little whelplings. Onesies, twosies, not a big deal. If you pull a bunch of them, then it's more annoying than anything else. A DPS, if he pulls them, they can typically burn them down themselves. It's not something you have to worry about it as a tank if there's only a couple of them. Shade of Xavius is the final one. The two things here, alright, so Induced Paranoia, you got to stay away from others, kind of difficult as a tank, so it is possible for your DPS to stay outside of the effect of this, but still be able to hit the boss. So it's kind of something they need to be aware of more than you. If they're not getting out of the way, then you can slowly back up and kind of pull the boss with you. Hopefully the DPS will stay in their spot. The Walking Nightmare, so yes, stand near others, really not something you want to do because then you're going to force that cleave. So somebody else, maybe they can pop a defensive cooldown, come in, stand next to you, so it'll remove that. So those are the big things going into the dungeon. The last thing I do want to show is, yes, I am an eye level 831, which is overgeared for a normal dungeon. I'm not here for the challenge, I'm just here to kind of show off how to go through a normal dungeon on a tank. As I go through all of my tanks, they're completely different eye levels, so we'll see what happens. I think I even have an intellect trinket on right now. So that 831 is really just a number. It's not a good representation of how well geared I am for the dungeon. So tank, Darkheart Thicket, that's the only one queued. This is the other thing that I really love about tanking, especially for normals, is I should spend about, I'd say about 30 seconds in a queue instead of 30 minutes, so we'll see what happens. Alright, so I just queued up, so we'll go ahead and enter the dungeon, we'll see what happens. So the first thing I do when I get in a dungeon is I like to make the healer my focus. It makes it really quick and easy to see their mana so that I can keep myself safe. The other thing I do, especially with pugging, is through the first couple of pulls, I try to see how the DPS are doing. Are they keeping up? Is the heals keeping up? What kind of damage are these guys putting out so that I can make a better assessment as to like how many groups I can pull and those types of things. So the cats just jump away. So you're not losing aggro on them. They just run away from you. So you can't do anything about it. Just let them go. They'll come back to you. Alright. So that's pretty good. So let's see. I'm doing alright at 100k. We actually do have some good DPS in here. So I'm going to drop a Thrash here quick. Try to pick him up. So these little birds drop a disorienting effect, which can be a pain in the butt. Try not to move as much as I am right now. So this is actually a pretty good group. So I'm going to go ahead and pull all these. So even though they're not here, I've still got aggro on them. So I can pull the bear over, so that'll help the DPS cleave. So that positioning is really big. It helps out the DPS. If you can create, I think Preach talks about it, Preach Gaming in some of his videos, especially his tanking stuff, right? You gotta create that ball of death that just follows you around. So you pull aggro on everything, and then it just gives the DPS a much easier time to cleave and to get that AoE down. So one of the things here is you kind of have to keep an eye on that group over there. If you're not going to pull them right off the bat, because the griffins get out, if somebody chases them over there, they can pull. This is a part right here that kind of, it upsets me from time to time, because every group seems to do it a little bit different. So we're doing well enough here that I don't mind pulling both of these groups. But depending on your healer, it may be, you may try to pull them back into that corner over there. And I'm not sure what's going on here. So I'm going to drop my Rage of the Sleeper here. I shouldn't be getting hurt that much. The healer is down here. Actually, it's strange that he's having trouble keeping me up. Although he is also doing damage at the same time. So he's trying to help out the group, which is good. I prefer to not quite see myself that low, but I'll take it. I actually prefer it when these guys drop into the spider form. I think they're easier to handle that way. But so coming up here so you can skip those guys. Sometimes there's world quests in here. I don't really focus on those. You can definitely run around those guys over on the left. You can just stay straight on. Not quite sure why I stumbled. Oh man. Alright, I'm just going to stop talking for a second. So these guys, I just run through them. Hit a couple AoEs on the way. And then it should not be an issue to hold aggro on the two of them. So if you're better than I am, one of the things that is recommended as far as rotation goes for the bear tank is to maintain that moonfire on all your targets. And I think it's up to, I don't know, like 5 or 6 targets you want to try to maintain the moonfire. Not that good yet. I'm still just trying to maintain like a base level with all my tanks. But I really enjoy 5-man content. I really enjoy tanking, so I'm alright with being a little bit delayed. So this is the first boss, big thing, right? Keep him pointed away from the group. He'll do a cat move, that one right there that he just did. And you can't do anything about that. He's just going to go hit whoever he hits. So now that was the rampage. So now I'm going to get him back here. So another thing that he will occasionally drop is there's the Nightfall right there. So you just got to move him out of it. So I'm looking at his positioning there, and I'm trying to make sure that my DPS have enough room to safely DPS him from behind without standing in the Nightmare. So a little aggressive on the defensive there, but... So the Rage of the Sleeper right now too, so I actually just got the golden trait for it that makes it kind of a DPS cooldown as well. So overall this is going well. Drop. Alright, so now I'll move back out of the way. It's pretty straightforward. It's a good boss. I like that guy. Alright, so I do have the personal loot helper add-on, and it doesn't look like that's really an upgrade for anyone, so... Okay. That was the healer. Strange. I thought we were doing alright. Alright, so I'll pause the vid for a second and I'll come right back as soon as we get another healer in here. Alright, so we got another healer here, and someone just dropped some food, so that's nice. Really have no idea why he left. He didn't even say anything, he just rolled. So now I gotta reset my focus. Alright, and then we'll go. So these groups, these little dryads here, I try to get good aggro on them right off the bat because they like to jump away from the group. So if you can keep everybody close to them, it's a little bit easier on the DPS so that they can still get that cleave. Back out of here a little bit. Try to bring him over here. No reason not to. So that low ding that you hear is actually decursive, and that's letting me know that somebody has something that I could decurse, but not something I'm going to do as a tank. So I'll just come in here. Drop some stuff. This guy. Not 100% sure why. Is he being mind controlled? That's pretty awesome. I can honestly say that's the first time I've seen somebody do that. I'm impressed. I don't know how long it lasts. Oh, about that long. So we'll just pull him in this group. Get back, drop this. So this is one of the cases that the classes with a grip of sorts, so the Death Knight or even the Demon Hunter now with the Sigil of Chains, if you take that talent, it's fantastic to have something like that that you can pull them back. Get him back to the group. Alright. He should be dead. Alright. So now I think that this group is doing pretty well, so I'm actually going to keep pulling them. Try to get them to actually pull this group behind me. And if nothing else, it helps us just kind of get a little bit closer to the end. Alright, so I just popped the Rage of the Sleeper there. Give myself a little bit more damage resistance. Get back out of that. Oh, somebody pulled Godzilla, that's why. Alright, so I'll get him down here. Perfect. And he's in the middle of the crap. Let's get him down here. I have no idea who pulled him. That's what that crap on the ground was. Alright, we'll get my own healing going here. Who is dead? One of the DPS. Alright. Drop another cooldown. And I'm probably gonna die here. That was dumb. That was really dumb. Alright, so I'm dropping the big cooldown there. I don't know who pulled this guy. But I don't think there's any way that we're going to be able to get him down. Fuck. Sorry. If I move much further, I'm going to start getting into that other crap. He's still keeping me alive though, which is good. So I'm not giving the DPS much room to work with here. So if I kind of run back up this way. So that's what happens when you just kind of do it without thinking about it first. Very nice. Well, we got him. World quest done. And everything's dead. That was ugly, but it happened. Alright. Kind of get this going. Not a whole lot to this one. So with this, if you're ever coming up on Darkheart and for some reason he will not start moving, it's because you missed one of these guys somewhere. I can never remember how many of them there are, but sometimes you'll come up here on him and he just won't start moving. He won't actually spawn. So just go back and try to find some more of those. So I'll run straight through and get over to the other side, give everybody else a good spot to kill them from behind. Get right back on them. Alright, so we'll see what this happens. Typically it doesn't drop on the boss, or it doesn't drop on you, the tank, sorry. Oops, I dropped that a little bit. Oh, actually that was okay timing. See, it still hurts though. And that was even with it. So I do kind of lose a little bit of my situational awareness when he does that. But I try to get him back where I know he is. I'm not 100% sure why I am not doing well right now. So I'm alright. Alright, so I popped a Frenzied Regen and my Rage of the Sleeper there. I'm going to put this down, which you have to stay inside. I don't remember what it's called. I actually just picked up the talent. So it does a decent amount of damage and it heals you, but you have to stay inside of it. Alright, that wasn't bad. Alright, so it looks like we picked up a Disc Priest, so that's why I was falling a little lower on my health, but he was putting out some okay damage, which is, it helps out. This part I don't like. I just don't. It's a pain in the butt. A lot of guys will run through, they'll pull a lot more than I do. It's just not really my style. These guys, I hate these Furies. So I like to pull him back a little bit. So there's two things here that he'll do. He will do a charge that will knock away, so the Blood Assault right there, which will knock everybody away. Generally it knocks them right into the Whelplings. Just the nature of the beast. And this is another thing that I've seen a lot of guys miss, especially newer tanks, is that when those guys drop, that is not the end. So they spawn those little guys, the 4 more little guys around them. But so he'll do the Blood Assault. There's also another ability that he will use that will drop like this weird blood ball, and that will knock everybody away. So that's without him moving, and once again it will typically knock everybody out into the, so that right there. See, knocked him away. Get back here. Yes, I know they're attacking me. I want them to. Alright, so that was that. So this guy can be a pain. So he has the downdraft that we kind of talked about. But then he has a breath attack. So you want to keep him pointed away from the group. And then he also has, it almost looks like a Warlock's Reign of Destruction, except it hurts you instead of the bad guy. So you got to make sure that he stays. And I didn't dodge it. That was dumb. So that one you can dodge. So try to do that better than I did. So he dropped that rain right there. And that was an okay position because my DPS can still get solid behind him and attack him without getting hurt by it. So if he drops it on one of the DPS, specifically one of the melee DPS, obviously, so he dropped that one again. Looks like he did it. Oh, that sucks. That was terrible timing for that. So I'm going to get right back into it. Oh, I did not mean to turn him. Alright, so there's a couple of Whelplings out there. I'm not worried about them right away. So I need him to move. There we go. So once again, not the prettiest, but we got it done. So the 3 main attacks that he does, the breath, that one you actually can get out of the way of. The raining crap on you, which you can position him so that it's not raining on the other guys. And the last one is the downdraft. So these groups here, I've seen some people pull them multiples. I like to pull them separate. It slows things down a little bit, but I like the heals. I like the fact that he's doing damage that is helping the group, but my health is dropping a little lower than I'm used to seeing. So I want to make sure that I help him out, keep myself safe, so that I can stay alive, because that'll keep the rest of the party alive. Alright. These guys don't really do anything special. Oh, wow. Somebody actually just pulled aggro off me. Alright, so I used my bark skin there. And my frenzied regeneration. Get a little bit of heals. That frenzied regen, honestly, is a crap heal. if you suddenly get hammered, right, it can help a lot because you can heal a lot back. But I think there's something in your artifact weapon that you can get to that will raise the minimum that it will heal. So right now the minimum is 5%, which is just crap. But I think it can raise up to like 15%, which is a pretty drastic difference. So that would make it much more usable. So these ones, I didn't really have a reason for kind of my priority for who I attack when. I would just pick one in the middle so that I can run straight through them and start my AoE-ish rotation. Which, with this guy, is super easy. You just hammer swipe as much as you can. Alright, so Disc Priest, I really haven't seen a Disc Priest run into problems with mana. They're very efficient. So I'm not worried about his mana level, so we'll just get in there. So one of the things that I see in this dungeon from some tanks is kind of an overreaction to the little pink swirly things that are going to come in the second half of the fight. So I'll kind of talk about that when I get there. So that was good. So that guy was getting affected, but he was able to back off enough that it wasn't messing with anybody else. So he's doing the growing paranoia thing again. And now I need to mess with my DBM so that it does not put that right in the middle of my screen. I just need it offset by a little bit. Alright, so now he's transitioning into the second set. So now you're going to see... Alright, so I just dropped Frenzied Regen to give myself those little pink swirly things. So they come and they go really quick. There's no reason to drag the boss all over the map when he drops those, even if they're right on top of you. In that case, you can move just enough so that you're not going to get hit, but it'll keep the boss where he is, because they're going to go away fast. So even some of the DPS, I think, are kind of overreacting to it. Beautiful. So that was actually a really good fight. So I was able to pull one out at the end that I'm not necessarily embarrassed about. Everybody stayed alive. Everybody did pretty good damage. It's nice. So Storm Strike, Wind Fury, Attack. Okay, so we've got ourselves an Enhancement Shaman. Run through Saber Slash. I can't remember which one that was. So then me. Yep, and even so this should be interesting. So if I swap this over to DPS and HPS, so combined, that's actually really nice. So that's just fantastic, right? So the Disc Priest was able to do 50k while also healing at 100k, which is a lot of fun to have as long as he's doing it right. And he was able to keep me alive. I had to pop a few more cooldowns than I'm used to, but it was all good. Alright, so with that, I'm going to finish up this video. I hope you all enjoyed, and I am X from the Xbubblez Gaming Channel, and I'm out.